Previously, on the Fan of History, King Yu of the Zhou Dynasty in China divorced his queen to make his concubine the queen instead. And this pissed people off. At the same time, the barbarians known as the Dog People are close to China's border and they are hungry for vengeance. Well, today we're gonna bury the most powerful empire in the ancient world of the 10th and the 9th century BC. I've talked so much about the Neo-Assyrian Empire, but the Zhou Dynasty was always the most powerful city-state, not city-state, nation-state. You should watch The Great Civilizations of the World in 800 BC to get a picture of what the world looked like. And I've been thinking about, because the Assyrians were better equipped, they had better fighters, but they were not as numerous as the China of the Zhou Dynasty. So I was thinking of doing a like Ashur-dan versus King Mu video, in case to show what a war between Neo-Assyria and the Zhou Dynasty would look like. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments. But now I'm doing fantasy history, and that's bad. So let's talk about the 770s BC. Argishti is the most powerful ruler in the west. He's the king of Urartu. Urartu is the strongest state, and Assyria is a close second. We have his full annals. He has founded Yerevan, the capital of modern Armenia, in 782 BC. And the Neo-Assyrian Empire is falling to pieces to his south. And they fight again. In 774, the eponym year of Istarduri, the governor of Isibis, Assyria and Urartu fights. And Assyria even finds the time to attack the Kassites, not the Chaldeans, in the Zagros mountains in the same year. Shamshi-Ilu, the warlord of northern Assyria, is leading the Assyrian army here. And he claims victory. And if he actually is right in that, if he at one time captured Argishti's camp, like he claims, it could have happened this year, because Argishti is very silent about what's happening in 774 BC, and that's uncharacteristic, because Argishti likes to boast about all his wars, but he doesn't mention this year. And if Assyria won in 773 BC, Assyria finds the time to attack Damascus again. This campaign is led by Shamshi-Ilu. I really don't doubt that at this point, because there is a text preserved by Shamshi-Ilu about this war. Remember that Adad-nirari III crushed Damascus in 796 BC, but apparently Damascus had become a problem again. Assyria wins, Damascus pays tribute, and there is a ruler in Damascus called Kadianu, and we have no idea what his relation is to Ben-Hadad III, the last ruler we knew of in Damascus. He might be the same guy, because the Assyrians' names for Damascus rulers are like their own inventions. There is another source that claims that a guy called Tab-El ruled Damascus in 770 BC, but that sounds like someone from Krypton. This is the eponym year of Manu-ki-Akkad, the governor of Rakhmat in Assyria. So, Israel also attacks Damascus. And this might have been coordinated with Shamshi-Ilu, because Israel was paying tribute to Assyria. Jeroboam II, the king of Israel, goes to war with Damascus, and he's credited with restoring Israel's boundaries from the approaches of Hamath to the Dead Sea. And Israel is already doing very well, but after this war comes a golden age of Israel. Maybe the best age of the ancient kingdom of Israel, as the Age of Solomon is just a fable. Israel controls the kingdom of Moab after this war, and enjoy intense economic growth. To the south, King Amaziah, now let free from Israel captivity, is ruling peacefully over Judah together with his son. So Israel and Judah are doing great for once. In 772 BC, Shalmaneser IV, king of Assyria, dies, and he has left very little impression on us. There's no depictions of him, but he did sort of sponsor a campaign every year. The old tradition of going to war every year has been maintained during his reign, and we will see that that will not be so for the coming years, because the empire is going to grow even weaker. Shalmaneser IV has a brother called Ashur-dan. They are all named the same as ancient, very good Assyrian kings. He might have another brother, Ashur-dan, and if Ashur-dan is not his brother, he is the son of Ashur-dan. And maybe there is yet another brother, Pul, or maybe Pul is the son, or maybe Pul is the son of Ashur-dan. But I think that Pul is a big fat liar. We'll talk more about this guy later. But even though this reign of Shalmaneser IV has been a pretty low time, I think he's the weakest king Assyria's had so far since the empire started. Soon people will look back on this time as the good old days, because things are about to get worse for the empire. So Ashur-dan, the brother of the old king, becomes the new king, and that's not very common. It's usually a son, but if no son is grown up, I think it could go to the brother, or it might have been a coup. But Ashur-dan III does not seem like a person who could make a coup, because he is a weak king and he will be dominated by these powerful nobles that build their own cities and control the army, etc. And he has some sort of relation then to Ashur-dan and to Pul. In 772 BC, Argishti campaigns to the north. He ravages the land of Tayuni, captures 11 cities. But then something weird happens. There are 4 years where Argishti doesn't talk about what he's doing. So I think he might have been defeated by Assyria. And now he has to reorganize, and I don't know, but there is a problem. And the problem of these coming years is probably not Assyria, because Assyria doesn't talk about fighting with Urartu again. So maybe there is just peace. Maybe they came to an agreement after the fight in 774 BC. The sources are just so bad. Well, during this decade, the new queen of China, the new queen of the Zhou Dynasty, it is actually wrong to talk about China. We have to talk about the Zhou Dynasty. The queen of the Zhou Dynasty grows more and more bored. And the king, who is madly in love with her, he tries to entertain her, but nothing works. And then he comes up with this amazing joke. He lights the beacons. The beacons, there's a system of beacons, much like the system in Return of the King, if you remember that scene. So when the beacons are lit, the barbarians are invading China. And he puts them on. Light the beacons, and the beacons are lit. The nobles appear with their armies to protect China against the barbarians. But then the king goes, "Ha ha! Fooled you guys!" And the queen goes, "Hee!" and thinks it's really fun. So finally, King Yu has found a way to entertain his queen. So he does this again and again, lighting the beacons and laughing at the nobles when they appear. And yeah, this might just be a legend to sort of explain what's going to happen, but I thought it was fun enough to mention. In 772 BC, Assyria goes to war against Hatarikka. Hatarikka is near Aleppo, the red dot on the map, in Syria. So Assyria can still project their power into the west, but some sources say that this is a telling sign that this area, which was tightly under control earlier, is now slipping out of the grasp of Assyria. It's the eponymous year of Assur-bel-usur, the governor of the capital. And it seems that the governor of the capital is growing super powerful and thinks he's better than the king as well. And he's right next to the king, so this is really bad. And the governor will probably be the one who keeps the king contained, so he doesn't come up with any stupid ideas. So, here we are. We are gonna bury the most powerful empire in the world. The Marquis of Shen, who had his daughter deposed as the queen, he has approached the Quanrong, the dog people, and allied with them. So together with the Quanrong, they attack the Zhou capital of Haojing. And King Yu, he's like, oh no, it's the dog people, they're really coming, light the beacons! And the beacons are lit, but the nobles of China have grown tired of his joke, and they don't come. They don't come to the party. That means that the heavenly armies cannot resist, and King Yu is killed. And he's the last king of the Western Zhou dynasty. The crown prince Bufu, who should have been like 6 or 7 years old at this point, is also killed. And the Quanrong finally has their revenge. Remember, King Mu, the powerful ruler in the 10th century BC, crushed the dog people and took their holy dogs. But now it's time for vengeance. So the city of Haojing is razed and ravaged. The Marquis of Shen doesn't really like the fact that the capital is getting torn apart by barbarians. But he now speaks to the nobles of China and says that my grandson, Prince Jiju, who used to be the crown prince and is the son of the old king, he is now the ruler. But he also realizes that they can't stick around in Haojing because the dog people is unreliable. So the Marquis of Shen takes the boy and makes him King Ping of the Zhou dynasty, but he's not King Ping of the Western Zhou dynasty. Because this is the beginning of the spring and autumn period, begins in 771 BC, because the capital is moved to the east and the black dot is Luoyang. So they moved to safety, far away from the dog people. And so begins the longest dynasty in Chinese history, the Eastern Zhou. And this is not at all anything like the Western Zhou. This is a puppet dynasty. Powerful nobles allied to the king will control the king totally. And the power of the king will diminish until 256 BC, but the Eastern Zhou dynasty lasts for a very long time. And the first phase of this dynasty is called the Spring and Autumn period. I like that, that's such a beautiful name. It's named because there is a book called the Spring and Autumn Annals. It's a chronicle of the state of Lu between 722 and 479 BC, and this has been traditionally attributed to Confucius himself, but I don't think he was the writer. As this is a pretty long period, 240-ish years, you can also split it into 3 phases, and the first phase of the spring and autumn period is called the Age of Regional Cultures. But that's a boring name. I like the spring and autumn period the best. But so ends the Western Zhou dynasty. Do they still have the mandate of heaven? Probably not. And well, they ruled China. They had a powerful state. And China will not be united again into an empire for a very long time. China will be divided. Meanwhile, in India, hey, we already talked about India. 771 BC, Assyria attacks Gananati, that is in northern Babylonia. So Marduk Aplu Usur himself, the king of Babylonia, might have been the enemy here. And it's the eponymous year of Ashur-dan III, king of Assyria. So it appears that the first eponymous year of a new reign is the year of the king himself. In 770 BC, the Assyrian armies goes to Babylonia again. This time they attack Marad. It's the eponymous year of Shamshi-Ilu, the commander-in-chief. And it's very telling that the second year of the reign is the year of Shamshi-Ilu, because Shamshi-Ilu is really the most powerful person in Assyria. In fact, he might control the entire kingdom at this point. I don't think anybody wants to go against the Turtanu, the commander-in-chief. The Medes sent a postcard telling, "Woo! We were not attacked!" Assyria and Urartu were busy beating up each other, so the Medes, remember there were 8 campaigns against the Medes in the reign of Adad-nirari III, but now the Medes are at peace. Oh, they're probably raiding somebody else. I still think they are the vassals of the Manoai, but the Manoai were busy hiding from Urartu and Assyria, so this was probably a great age for the Medes. The first known king of the Medes won't appear until 700 BC, so they're still not very powerful. You can see Media in the middle of this map. Egypt, yeah, we're not gonna talk about Egypt in this decade. We'll return to Egypt when King Kashta starts doing stuff south of Egypt. And his son is Pi, and it is Pi who will save us. Next time we'll talk further about the decline of the Assyrian Empire. There will be plague, there will be earthquakes, there will be years when there will be no campaign at all and Ashur will be displeased. Please help me spread the fan of history. Subscribe, like and share the videos, and help me find the people that would like this. If you know somebody who's interested in history, in ancient history, show them this and see if they are interested. Thank you for watching.